Kachuti.
Means liar.
It's slang.
Yeah.
Like, anyway, everybody calls him Kachuti. And he wears a stocking cap. And he wears it plumb down to here. And there is a... Kachuti is 2 years older than me. Mm-hmm. And there is people that's known him all his life and never seen him. They don't know what color his hair is or nothing. But anyway, I seen him one time because he hung his stocking cap. He is a good cowboy.
Yeah.
Well, he's raised on a ranch.
In here or in Mexico?
No, they're below Jeff.
Where's Jeff?
Jeff Mingus, down the river below me.
He's Mexican, but he grew up here.
Yeah,
he's American Mexican.
I think he's a fourth generation there. And they never did have many cows, but they will not get rid of the ranch. You know what I mean? And the house is still. They don't have any. The house has still got dirt floors in it. And the door jambs, you know, are supposed to be square. And there's been so many kids there that they're wore off round.
Is it nice?
Huh?
Is it nice though? Pretty?
No, not really. It's just a little adobe house like you find in Mexico.
Yeah, yeah.
And the roof is tin, and it's got rows of rocks on it. And everybody says, why do they have rocks up there? And Kachuti's brother stayed there a lot. And he says, the rocks. And he says, the gringos, they buy tin, they spend their good money buying tin, and they get up there and knock holes in it, put nails in it. That roof don't have any nails in it. They put the tin up there and then put the rows of rocks to keep it.
So they're not ruining the tin?
Yes, that was...
Are they planning to reuse it?
No, but it's been there for... When they bought the tin, they weren't going to put holes in it. And not only that, they all get busy and they gather mesquite beans. And the barn is probably as big as that living room in there, not as high. And they fill it full of mesquite beans by picking them up by hand.
Wow.
And then they get in there and tromp them. See, well, gee, they break up. You know what I mean? They walk on them and they have enough mesquite beans in there to feed their horses and mules all winter. It's like feeding them corn.
Do they have lots of mesquite on their land?
Oh yeah, it's like
so they don't have to buy any corn or anything.
But anyway, I was down there one day and I went to the doctor in Safford, and I was 60-some years old. And he told me I got where I couldn't drive at night because of my cataracts. And if you get cataracts, when you meet a car, it's just, you can't see nothing. So I just quit driving at night. So anyway, though, I went down there to inspect some cattle, and Kachuti was there. And the doctor told me my cataracts were bad. I need to get them done. So Daisy says, well, we'll just wait till get it done with Medicare, you know. I guess I was 64, so the next year I was going to be able to get it. So anyway, I'm down there. So I pulled my glasses off and laid them on the truck and was writing the papers out. And Kachuti says, how come you write without your glasses? I told him, and I just used that I said, I got bad cataracts. So I write the papers out. And Kachuti says, of course he knew me, he says, you know me, Joe, he says, and I think you believe like I do. He says, I can get rid of your cataracts. I said, how? Oh, he says, you want me to show you? I said, yeah. So he just took his old dirty thumbs and he rubbed my eyes, you know, with his thumbs, and he was doing a little sing-song. So he thinks he can heal you. Maybe he can. So he done that. I didn't pay much attention, but I got where the lights weren't bothering me as bad. I got where I could see pretty good. I've been about a year. So I went back to the doctor and checked my eyes, and he says, you said you got a little small cataract in the right eye. I said, you told me 18 months ago that I needed, he said, what'd you do, go have surgery? And I said, no. And I told him. He says, well, I don't know what happened, but he says, you don't have cataracts.
Wow.
And I went plumb on till I was past 75 years old. And then they started, the lights went to bother me again. So Daisy and I both went and had cataract surgery. But whatever he done must have done something.
You didn't want to go back to him then?
Huh?
You didn't go back to him
No,
for second treatment?
No, I just went ahead and got him.
So maybe he does have.
He claims he does. But he is a good cowboy.
Yeah.
If I had some wild cattle and I couldn't get any help at all, I mean, I'd go get Cachootie. He can ride all day long. His horse never sweats.
Wow.
And he can be 1,000 places all, I mean, just.
Even now?
Yes, well, he had a heart attack about a year ago. And he don't dress as a cowboy.
What does he do?
Wears that stocking cap, his work shoes, lace up work shoes, puts these spurs on. But he can rope and he can do a lot of things. But if he don't want to do anything, you are not going to get him to do it. Him and Jeff don't get along. And see, they're neighbors too. And Jeff had some cattle that was hard together. So I told him, I said, get Cachootie. Jeff says, you get Cachootie and you go do it. He says, I don't like Cachootie. So Cachootie and I went and gathered them. Jeff and I tried together and we couldn't get them. But
he could?
Cachootie and I got them. But you can have a bunch of cattle and then Cachootie will just disappear. And then when you think they're getting away, and there he is. I don't, you know.
That's cow sense.
Well, yeah, and see, he's been here all his life. He knows every little deer trail and everything. If he starts rounding off in the canyon, he knows just exactly where to go to get off in there. And anyway, so we got the cattle. So we had a bunch of cattle, and the other guys, they worked some. So we probably had 50-some calves to brand, a lot of cows. So we ride up there. Cachootie says, what are we going to do, Joe? I said, well, I think Jeff's going to cut out a bunch of calves, big calves to sell, and then I said, we're going to brand some calves. Cachootie says, I can't work with you gringos. He just got through working with one gringo. I said, why don't you just go over there in the shade until we get through? It's a good idea, he said to me. Jeff says, what's the matter with Cachootie? I said, he can't work with us gringos.
Why not? He just didn't like?
He likes some people and some people he does not like.
So he's Mexican. But are there many people around here? Are there many of the Indians cowboys too? Or not?
No.
So you don't really ever deal with them then?
Not much, no.
Have you met anyone?
Oh, the Indians, like the Apaches?
Yeah,
oh, they're sorry. They're sorry cowboys.
Yeah.
See, my boy, well, then I've got a grandson up there right now, but my boy was at the Double Circles for 12 years. Them Indians will go out there and they'll rope a cow tied to a tree, but they won't go back.
Why?
She'll die right there.
Why do they rope her then?
I don't know. I unloaded a mule. I got on a mule at the Double Circles one time, and I went out on their Indian reservation. That's when I was inspecting, and I came all the way down to Morenci, which is a long ways. Mm-hmm. And I had a dog with me. And the Indians had been in there gathering cattle. The dog, he'd be going along, and he'd throw his head up and look, and he'd take off. So I'd follow him. He'd be a dead cow tied to a tree. But she'd been dead long enough that she didn't smell bad. I'd get out, new nylon, new rope. I'd get out and take, I think I had 16 or 17 ropes hanging on my saddle when I got to Morenci.
Wow.
But they'll rope something and they won't ever go back.
Why do they rope it?
I don't know.
You think it's some sort of spiritual thing?
No, they rope it. They're planning on going back, but then they just
forget.
Yeah, or I don't feel like it today. Or
are they good horsemen?
No, they're scared of horses.
Really?
The Navajos are good horsemen.
Yeah.
The Apaches, if you see an Apache riding a horse, it's a real gentle horse, because if it's a little bit spooky yet, Apache's not going to get on him.
But the Navajo are good.
Yeah,
Are they good with cows too?
they're better, yeah.
Have you met many people then? Or do they keep to themselves?
Oh, the Apaches?
Or
Oh, no.
Navajo as well.
Yeah, I've been around the Navajo. My dad was up there for a long time.
Yeah.
But the Apaches, I know I know a lot of them. I know the one that's over the cattle. He's a character. His name is Sterling Pike.
That's a very English name.
Yeah, they got some funny names.
They don't have traditional names?
No. I don't know why they name. Anyway, though, he'll see me at the sale. And he's just blank, you know. And pretty soon he'll come over pretty close to me. He'll say, let's go drink coffee. I said, okay, let's go drink coffee. So he wants to talk to me about what's going on. And one time, it's been several years ago, he went to Prescott to the bull sale. Well, he took some bulls up there. And I talked to him there, and I introduced him to my son. Because my son works, he's there, not at Prescott, but below Prescott. So, Sterling left this bull sale, and his truck broke down. He don't know nobody. So I guess he got a phone book or something, and he called my son. And my son got in the truck and went and got him. And they got a wrecker and got his truck being repaired, and then my son took him to the ranch, and he stayed there 3 days. So now then, we are his best friends, you know what I mean? Yeah,
So he lives on the reservation?
yeah. Yeah, he kept getting thinner and thinner and thinner. A lot of them they get diabetes and stuff. Indians, well, they all drink. And I thought he looked like he was going to die, you know. I told him, I said, Sterling, I said, have you been, Kimmy, who the sale was about over with, we went out there and sit down. And she come by, and she spoke to me, so I introduced her to Kimmy. And she sat down and started talking to Kimmy. And pretty soon Sterling come out. So Sterling and I are talking, and I said, you're looking a little bit better. And he says, yes, yes. She says, he's looking better. She said there was only one thing wrong with him. I said, what? They live at Bylas. She lives at Bylas. Well, he was going, I think he had him a girlfriend at every one of those places. And she found out about it. She said that was always the matter with him, there's too many girlfriends.
Too much stress.
Yeah.
So that's why she was going with him to the sale.
And she told me, she says, I'm going to watch him from now on. They got grandkids.
He's not a young man.
Yeah, pretty little
No,
grandkids.
he's not young then.
He's in his 50s.
Oh,
Yeah, he had too many girlfriends. And she's watching him now. I see her, she's still with him too.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'd been to I went to a tribal council meeting. I was invited.
how did you get invited to that?
Through Sterling,
Oh.
because the cattle, and Sterling's been one of the cattlemen for a long time. Anyway, I didn't really want to go to the tribal council meeting, and then Phoenix, they call Phoenix, see, and that's what they invited me through my bosses. So they told me, you go. I said, okay. And I went to the tribal council meeting. It was at San Carlos. And there's big rock buildings. So I pulled up there and I asked an Indian, he says, the third building down there is where they have the cattle guard meeting. There's more women in there than there is men. The women run the Apaches. They're the bosses, yeah. So I went down there. there was nobody but Indians and me. I felt kind of, you know, and there was a table. It was as far from here as my truck is out there,
Oh,
and chairs, and there was name card, name plates.
very formal.
Oh, yeah, oh, you know, that was the most well
Presented.
meeting I was ever to in my life. And when I first went and sat down, well, there was a Indian police. I knew him. His name was Peter Curley. And he come, when he seen me, he come, and he stayed with me the rest of the day. Peter Curley did. He was younger, quite a bit younger than me, but I knew him. And he sat here, and there was a big old Indian woman sit on this side of me. And they talk, when they talk Apache, see, and they don't talk very loud. It sounds like we're whispering. They're all in there going, you know, funny little. So I'm just sitting there, and the president of the tribal council, he got up, and he said something in Apache. And then he says, "We have a guest today. We will talk English." I'm the only, but they did, and it was, I mean, everything went just perfect. Anyway, though, I went to the cattle growers meeting, and there was some Indians there, and they was telling me that they had cattle over here, but they never did get returned. That's the reason they didn't return no cattle. Well, I had the paperwork where the cattle were returned. So I told him, I said, if you'll go to Phoenix, I said, you can see and get my paperwork, you'll see where I have returned cattle and the brands. And he just looked at me like, maybe you had me. So I told him, I said, you go to the brand office, and I said, they got it. I didn't think anything more about it. And about 2 weeks after that, Daisy says, there's somebody, I don't know who he is, wants you on the phone. So I go over there. It was that Indian. And he says, I went to the brand office. And he says, I see where you were sending cattle back to us. And he says, I want to apologize. He was real nice about it. He says, but you're the only one to do. Let's go eat.
Yeah, that's great.
I'm getting hungry. Are you hungry?
Yeah.
You look hungry.